Good afternoon and welcome to this section on visa and scholarships. My name is Tommaso, former international business student at the Han University of Applied Sciences coming from Italy. And today I am joined with Rebecca, our student from Mexico,
Hi.
and Magda, our representative
Hi.
from the international office, who will be helping me out in terms of answering some questions that we receive in terms of visa and scholarships. However, before we get started, we have a video just for you to understand a little better the process of a visa application. So please enjoy.
Are you thinking of studying at Han? Great! And are you interested in scholarships? We offer several scholarships for students from outside the EU. In just a few seconds, we'll tell you what you need to do to qualify. First, make sure you've been accepted into your chosen degree program at Han well before the scholarship selection starts. The admissions office makes a selection from the accepted students. Do you meet all the scholarship requirements? Then you'll be invited to join the scholarship selection process. You'll receive an email telling you what we need to complete your application. Submit your portfolio to enter the scholarship section. Do this well before the deadline of May 1st if you start in September, or October 19th if you start in February. An automatic email will inform you whether your portfolio has been received in good order. Next, the scholarship committee reviews your portfolio. Before May 20th if you start in September, or November 3rd if you start in February, we notify you of the outcome. Accepted? Congratulations! You have 1 week to accept your scholarship. On the waiting list, you'll hear as soon as possible if a scholarship becomes available for you. Missed the boat? Then, of course, you can still come and study with us. You may still have a chance to win an honor scholarship in our second year. At the end of the first year, the academic board selects a number of outstanding students who are eligible for this scholarship. Time's up! Good luck with your preparations. Just one last thing. The scholarships are paid out once a year or semester. Depending on your intake, this will happen in October or March. You can find an overview of the available scholarships on our website. Han scholarships cannot be combined and never cover your entire study fees. Also go to hanuniversity.com for all the important info.
Welcome back, and thanks again to Magda and Rebecca for joining me during this section. So Rebecca, you come from Mexico, right? And would you mind telling us a bit of what your experience was like in coming to the Netherlands as an international student?
Well, thankfully it has been very easy for me to come to the Netherlands. The process was so easy and so quick. The Dutch embassy was very quick to give me back my documents, and booking my flight was super easy. Getting to Arnhem alone was kind of difficult because I flew in during COVID times. So from my country, they only allowed me to enter because I was going to study here. So no one could come with me, so I came all on my own. And getting to Arnhem was a bit difficult, but I got here. And well, this is my first year, so it's been good. I've been adapting well.
Yes, and it's great to hear, and also I'm sure also for the people at home, also very reassuring to hear that it is doable, even if you're coming from a country so far away like Mexico, that there is always a way to be able to come here. And also, of course, you were traveling during a pandemic period, which is definitely really critical. Hopefully, we are going to be out of this period anytime soon. Actually, at the moment in the Netherlands, there are no COVID restrictions whatsoever, so that should probably make the whole journey a little more manageable.
Yeah, definitely for people it's way easier to travel here. And like again, Dutch people are always willing to help. If you ask anywhere at the airport, at the train station, they will always try to help you out. So, you know, in case of that, just ask.
Yes, very much agreed on that. So Magda, from the video, we see that there is something as a financial guarantee. Would you mind explaining to us a little further what that is and if there are any options regarding the financial guarantee?
The financial guarantee is sort of like a package fee that covers a number of items. For instance, health insurance, tuition fee, living costs, but also, no, I already mentioned housing. So it's a package fee. A one-time fee that you pay to Han, and you can choose to either have it with or without housing. So if you already have housing, like for instance, if you're going to stay with relatives or friends, then you leave out the housing part. But most students just opt for the complete full package and also includes housing, because then housing is arranged for you by Han during the first year.
Yes.
And you actually pay for it before June 1, and you will receive an invoice from the admission office that you can use to transfer the money.
Excellent. So that is something that is also very good to hear beforehand, right? Did you already know about this financial guarantee before applying to the Han or not?
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
When I got the email, I read through the financial guarantee. I actually had some questions, but I just emailed admissions Han about it, and they replied. They got to me super quickly.
Okay.
So I was able to choose my package deal and everything. I would recommend those students, especially if it's your first year, to choose a full deal because the housing situation can be a little bit difficult and stressful, especially if you've never been in the country or if you don't know anyone in the country. It's very difficult to find something that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, most definitely really, really good to know for the people at home. And also, as we covered during some of the previous sections regarding housing more specifically, we talked about the fact that if you are a non-European student, you also get to have priority on housing, and the Han actually guarantees housing for you for the first semester or even for the first year in some cases. We also saw something addressed as a residence permit. So where can students pick that up?
Well, actually, the Han takes over the process after you send in your documents to the admission office. Han Immigration takes over, and they actually apply on your behalf for your residence permit at the IND, Immigration and Naturalization Services in the Netherlands. And Han Immigration takes over all communication with the IND. So that means that you don't need to get in touch with them yourself. We will send in your documents, apply for your residence permit, and then in most cases, depending on the nationality that you have, you will hear from us. Han Immigration will send you the approval letter that your residence permit has been approved, and then you will need to go make an appointment at the Dutch embassy or consulate in your home country to pick up what is called, that's part of the residence permit, it's an entry visa. So I think you already...
Oh, yeah. I got my entry visa again super quickly. It took like 2 weeks to get it, actually. So I think that's record time. And I just picked it up at the embassy. They took my fingerprints. I had to take some pictures, fill out some documents, and that was it. But then I got here, and I just... the visa's only valid, I think, for 6 months.
Okay.
So, yeah, I got a little bit scared when I saw that
Right.
first, because I thought that was going to be my permit.
No,
but
it's the
no,
entry visa.
it's just
Yeah.
entry, so you just get here. And then here, actually, we got to pick up our resident permits here at Han. They sent us an email with like a time slot and everything to pick it up. So.
Yeah, well, that sounds really convenient and also quite straightforward in general. And it's great to hear that you also receive this type of support from the Han in terms of getting those documents arranged. So just for the people at home, we are aware of the fact that we are mentioning a few items that can be rather complex or, perhaps just a bit complicated. So if you have any questions regarding these items, you can always use the chat box function that we have associated to this live show, and you can ask all of those questions away, which we will be answering at the end of the session during the last 15 minutes. All right, after this little commercial break, let's talk about the Dutch bank account, which I feel like it's always an item that is quite recurring when it comes to living in the Netherlands, just because you need to have one. Let's be honest. Like, you might have a Dutch a bank account in your home country, but you really need a local one when you come here. So Magda, how do I get a Dutch bank account?
Well, first and foremost, we will give you more information on that in the months preceding your arrival in the Netherlands, of course. You are free to choose whatever bank you would like to have your account with, because there are differences in the student packages and the student deals that different banks provide. And you can already schedule an appointment at one of these banks online, so from your home country. But the thing you need is a BSN number. And a BSN number is a social security number that you get upon registration at municipality where you're going to live. So most of the students are either going to live in Nijmegen or in Arnhem. And that is why we made special arrangements with these two municipalities. So our students will get priority during certain time slots and certain dates, that they can sort of go through a fast lane to register at City Hall and then immediately receive their BSN. And that with that BSN number, you can go onto your appointment at the bank and then have your Dutch bank account opened.
Wonderful.
Which indeed is important to have, because for instance, here on campus, there's no more cash. So you will need to have your bank card ready to either buy your coffee or have a meal or whatever it is you want to have from campus.
Yeah, and sometimes I feel like your card from home might Not work. Is that the case for you?
Yes, it has happened. Especially in Dutch supermarkets, they don't take anything that's not a Dutch bank account.
Yeah.
So Visa and MasterCard is not a thing.
Couldn't agree more on that. So that probably implies that you have your Dutch bank account already sorted out, right? Yes.
Yeah, it was so easy because now you can also just do it online. So I didn't even have to go to a bank appointment. I just downloaded an app on my phone, send in some of the documents like the BSN, passport, all that kind of like regular stuff. And they send me my card in the mail. And I just got it, activated it online, and use it. Yeah, super easy.
What kind of card do you have?
The bank?
Yeah.
It's ABN.
Okay, yeah.
ABN AMRO. Yeah, there's different ones. Yeah. ING, Rabobank.
Yeah, you just have those like bigger banks, and they make the whole like bank account process really manageable and understandable. What is it like to work in the Netherlands when you're a student not from the European Union? I don't know who wants to take this question.
I think I could take it because I have a lot of friends who work.
Go for it.
I want to start working. I have an interview at a local cafe next week, so that's exciting.
Wonderful. Good luck with that.
Thank you. But it's very easy. I think it's very manageable. A lot of the places don't require for you to speak Dutch, which is very important. So you can apply to a lot of stores, especially like Zara, Monkey, like a lot of like big clothing brands. They really take international students. And also I think a very important detail to know is that you need a work permit. But usually if the company is happy with like your resume and your CV, they apply on your behalf for the work document, so you don't actually have to do anything.
There you go. That's quite important to know.
It's the employer that needs to apply for the work permit, not the employee, him or herself. But if you are a non-European student, then there are some restrictions in the number of hours that you are allowed to work.
How many hours can you work?
It is, during the academic year, it is a maximum of 16 hours per week. That's option 1. Or you can choose to work full-time during the months of June, July, or August. For 3 months.
I don't know, but I also know if you study the full 16 hours, you work the full 16 hours every week for a whole month, you are eligible for like government compensation. So you can apply for that too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. And then because during the HAN, in most cases, you also need to do an internship or a placement either within the Netherlands or abroad. How does it work for students outside the European Union?
You mean visa-wise?
Visa-wise, yes, or requirement-wise, can you do that without any types of limitations or restrictions?
In principle, there are no restrictions, but it depends on the country where you're going to. So that's really an individual assessment that needs to be made there. But this is HAN Immigration again, the department that can guide you through that. So when it's time to do your internship, then please direct your questions there, and you will be guided to what process you need to follow.
Okay. And we've also heard, which is also related to the topic of working as an international student, in case you decide to stay longer in the Netherlands, there is something called orientation year. Would you mind explaining what that is?
I think it's important to say that the residence permit that you do get at the beginning of your studies, it covers the full duration of your 4-year bachelor's or your master that you're doing. And afterwards, once you graduate from HAN, you can choose to apply for what we call an orientation year. It's a different kind of visa. You apply for it yourself at the IND, the Immigration and Naturalization Services again. But that allows you to stay a full year on after your studies and try to see if you can find a job in your professional field. So that gives you extra time to explore whether or not you would like to pursue a career here, for instance. And a lot of students take that opportunity because during your studies, there's not a lot of time to do those orientations. But if you have that extra year, then at least you have that year to find out what company you would like to work for, which organizations you would like to do some job interviews. So that is a good opportunity if you want to stay on after you graduate.
Rebecca, do you think you will be staying in the Netherlands after your graduation, or you don't know yet?
I don't know yet. So far I like it, but I really don't know. I guess the automotive field is so broad that you could go anywhere.
Yeah,
You know?
and also maybe going back to Mexico can sound quite appealing as well.
Yeah, you know, homesickness really sometimes does make me want to go
You
back.
can actually do in the orientation year. You don't have to do it right after you graduate. So you can also choose to do it, go back to your home country and then come back. But you need to come back for that orientation year in 3 years after you graduate.
Excellent. Yeah.
So you can go do both.
Do both. Go back home and come back.
Sounds like the perfect combination.
Yeah,
really.
it does.
Amazing. So this wraps up our session on visa. Coming up, we have a session on scholarships because the Han gives you an opportunity to apply for different scholarships, either from the Netherlands per se as a country, or also as from the Han as an institution. We have an animated video concerning that, so let's watch it together before we start our discussion.
Are you thinking of studying at Han? Great! And are you interested in scholarships? We offer several scholarships for students from outside the EU. In just a few seconds, we'll tell you what you need to do to qualify. First, make sure you've been accepted into your chosen degree program at Han well before the scholarship selection starts. The admissions office makes a selection from the accepted students. Do you meet all the scholarship requirements? Then you'll be invited to join the scholarship selection process. You'll receive an email telling you what we need to complete your application. Submit your portfolio to enter the scholarship section. Do this well before the deadline of May 1st if you start in September, or October 19th if you start in February. An automatic email will inform you whether your portfolio has been received in good order. Next, the scholarship committee reviews your portfolio. Before May 20th if you start in September, or November 3rd if you start in February, we notify you of the outcome. Accepted? Congratulations! You have 1 week to accept your scholarship. On the waiting list, you'll hear as soon as possible if a scholarship becomes available for you. Missed the boat? Then of course you can still come and study with us. You may still have a chance to win an honor scholarship in our second year. At the end of the first year, the academic board selects a number of outstanding students who are eligible for this scholarship. Time's up! Good luck with your preparations. Just one last thing. The scholarships are paid out once a year or semester. Depending on your intake, this will happen in October or March. You can find an overview of the available scholarships on our website. Han scholarships cannot be combined and never cover your entire study fees. Also go to hanuniversity.com for all the important info.
All right, welcome back. So we've just watched this video on scholarships, which explained to us a little what the process really looks like when it comes to applying for a scholarship, receiving a scholarship, and what kind of eligibility you can have. Now, let's dive into the discussion together with Rebecca and Magda and to see what it's really like, for example, for a student, from a student's perspective, and also from someone who has a lot of experience around the field as well. So Rebecca, have you gotten a scholarship that's sponsoring your studies here?
Yes, I have. Currently, I have one scholarship here at the Han. It was, again, very easy for me. I felt like the whole process was, in a way.
Was it easy to receive it, or the process was easy?
Both, actually. Oh. Both, actually. I got an email saying that I was eligible for a scholarship. And so they asked for my CV and for me to make a video. Mm-hmm. And I already had a CV ready from high school, so just, I added all of my extracurricular activities at school, the awards that I have gotten, any clubs or things that I used to do. I also added I used to do sports, so I was an athlete. I added that too. Just added everything there in my CV. And then I made my video. I think that was the most fun part for me because I got some of my friends to do it with me. Some of my friends who studied cinema filmed me. It was very fun for me to do that. I really enjoyed that process. And again, I would recommend for people to ask for, their friends, family, teachers to send in also recommendation videos and stuff. They all took a part in my video, which I think made it very good and very fun.
So applying for a scholarship can be a lot of fun as well.
Yes, it can.
It shouldn't be seen as a very boring thing that you need to be doing necessarily. Okay, that's really good to hear. When did you actually receive this invitation email from the Han?
Well, I received the email around, I think, March. And handed it all in like around 2 weeks before the deadline. I shouldn't have done that, but I handed it in, and then I got my reply. I actually was kind of impatient. I remember I emailed the admissions like, oh, when can I get my reply? And they were like, oh, May 20.
Right, okay.
But yeah, I got my reply, and thankfully I got it, and it's, well, yeah, here we are.
So you got the happy mail.
Yeah, I got the happy mail.
Wonderful. And of course, I can assume that the Han receives tons of those videos with different motivations from students to really receive the scholarship. What are you, Magda, what are you looking for when you watch these videos? What kind of aspects are you like trying to see that the student embodies?
Well, like Rebecca already explains, like not just academic aspects, but also what makes you stand out from other students. What is your motivation for studying at Han? What is your career perspective? What would you like to achieve in 10 years or 5 years from now? What would you like to do? Maybe also next to your studies, like extracurricular activities is very important that you highlight that if you have been involved in any of those. Really just make sure that we get a good understanding of what you are like, what you're made of, really. So, like Rebecca said, it's always a good idea to have other people tell what kind of person you are, because then we see it and hear it from different perspectives. So that's a good tip, I think, for students who are thinking about sending in their videos. So that is what we look for. All-round students, all-round professional. Also, not just hard skills, but also soft skills are important to highlight.
Yeah. Excellent skills altogether. I think for the people at home watching, definitely like take your notes. But so we heard from Rebecca that for her it was extremely easy to get the scholarship. But Magda, from your perspective, what are the chances of getting one?
It depends per semester and sometimes per year. But I would say, roughly speaking, a 30% chance that you will get awarded the Han Holland Scholarship. Provided that you do send in, of course, everything and that you are awarded. So it's definitely worthwhile, also because it's quite a large amount of money that you will receive. It's 12,500. So that is definitely worth it to spend some time on making your video, writing your motivational letter, getting your resume in order and send it in before the deadline. The deadline for sending it in is May 1st.
Okay.
And then we need 3 weeks, at least, or 3 weeks, to come up with the final decision and to send out the happy mails.
Yeah.
Should you not get the scholarship from the Han, we also saw from the video that there are other scholarships that are out there and available. Can you tell us a little more about them?
Within Han, there's one other. If you do not get awarded the Han Holland Scholarship, then you can be awarded, if you are an excellent student, if you are in the top ranking of your study program, grade-wise, then there's a chance that you will be awarded the Han Honors Scholarship. But that it will be awarded to you in the second year, because first we need to see what kind of student you are and whether you really are getting the high grades and showing the great study progress. This is something that you get awarded, so you will hear about it from your study program coordinators. And but you cannot have both. So if you already have been awarded the Han Holland Scholarship, then you cannot be awarded the Han Honors.
Okay.
Because you cannot mix them.
No, that's also good to keep in mind, especially because I feel like a student prior to coming to the Netherlands maybe starts making some different financial considerations, and then it's important to know that you can either have one or the other.
And you could also, because these are just the two scholarships that Han offers, but there are more out there, and there's a handy tool that you can use online. It's called Grant Finder.
Okay.
And I think they can put the link in the chat to see if there are any other options for scholarships that are applicable to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very good to hear.
Also national scholarships. I applied to some, from my own country. They sponsor students to go to the Netherlands. So it's also could be good to check out if your country offers sponsorships for you to go different programs. It's definitely worth a while.
How was your experience with that? Were you able to apply?
I unfortunately wasn't able to apply because I was going through some personal stuff and I missed the deadline for that. Yeah. But it's from what I saw, it's very easy, but there are a lot of applicants.
Yeah.
Because it's for students not just going to Han, it's for students for everyone who's going to the Netherlands. So it's
I
a
can
very big
imagine.
competition.
Yeah.
But I do know some people who have gotten that scholarship because I have some friends here in the Netherlands. I know some people got that scholarship, so it's definitely doable.
Yeah, it's always worthwhile
Trying.
the try. Yeah, 100% couldn't agree more on that. So yeah, thank you for giving us that insight as well. So there is a lot out there. There are tools that you can utilize to find different scholarship opportunities, and there are maybe also some things that can already be in your home country, and you just need to be able to look for them in a way. Are there, just to kind of wrap up this session a little, are there any tips and tricks that you would advise students to consider when applying for a scholarship?
Well, again, definitely try getting recommendations from other people. It's always helpful because, again, people can see the type of person that you are. And again, it really motivates you to see how people think of you. Try participating in a lot of extracurricular activities, if it's at school, out of school time. And, just try to add everything in. Doesn't matter if you don't think it's that big of a deal. It counts for something. And I think it's worth a try. And, just try to have fun while doing it. It can be stressful sometimes if there's a lot of pressure from home or, just from yourself. But just try to have fun and, make it fun for you. Because if you make it fun for you, then other people are going to enjoy it, too.
Of course. I can see that point. And from your perspective, Magda,
I think
do you agree?
It really shows if you're having fun and if you're putting your heart to it, then it will come across the screen for the assessors. Yeah, so do take it seriously. Sit down for it, take your time, review it, let someone else see it before you send it in.
Yeah.
Maybe do some extra editing, and just go for it.
Yeah. And that also is quite in line because I did get a scholarship throughout my studies at Han to go abroad, actually, to do my study abroad. And that was exactly like the same type of process that I went through. I am a European student, so I couldn't get access to the types of scholarship that we have been talking about during the session. But there are other types of scholarships that can also come into place further on during the studies. For example, the Erasmus scholarship or the Holland scholarship, if you're doing your study abroad, for instance, outside the European Union. And those tips and tricks also apply to me because I was I really, really took my time when I did my application and my submission, and that was really what got me the scholarship that I was looking for. So yeah, those are like wonderful tricks, I would say, overall. And I feel like this is also a really nice note to leave the session with. However, in the coming few minutes, we still have a Q&A. So if there's anything that we have talked about and discussed that you would like to hear some further clarifications about, feel free to send in your questions so that we can answer to them during the coming 15 minutes. With that being said, just to recap a little what we have discussed so far, we have first started our conversation just bringing on some insight regarding the visa. So what is it like to apply for the visa? To what extent does the Han support all of those application procedures? And what is really something that you need to know in order to apply for this visa? We then continued our discussion talking about scholarships, what they are not, and how to successfully apply for them and increase your chances of getting one. So now to turn the discussion back to you, we have received a question and that concerns the health insurance because that is actually, really good question. We haven't still covered that during our previous talks. So how does this work and how does it differ between European and non-European students?
Okay. Well, for non-European students, it is part of the financial guarantee that you pay for the first year, so it is covered. That means that the Han is going to arrange health insurance for you for the first year. So if you're a non-European student, the first year that's covered. The following years, it's up to you to either stay with that same company or choose another insurance company, because from the second year onwards, it is something that you arrange yourself. It's no longer part of what we do for you. So you're free to choose. Most students stay with the same company that they were with in the first year. Because it's a rather good company, and then you are already known in the system, and it's easier to follow it up. And for the European students, they are required to have health insurance, either take the one that they already have in their home country, like for instance, through the European Health Insurance Card. Maybe that's something that you sounds familiar for you. That is also applicable here in the Netherlands. Yeah. So most of them just take their own insurance and then have it valuable here, have it be take it out here as well.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's covered here as well for Europeans, that is.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah, thank
non-Europeans,
you
no.
for bringing that up as well, because I feel like that's also important, and there might be some students from home following that are from the European Union. Just something minor that I wanted to add on that, though, is that it's true that your home country is valid in the Netherlands, right? So if you're not conducting any sort of activities besides studying, that's
True.
enough. However, if you are employed in the Netherlands, you do need a Dutch insurance, even if you're from the European Union. That's actually really, really important to know. Otherwise, you can really be fined quite heavily if you don't.
true.
And that doesn't matter. Even if you have an international insurance in your home country, you still need to have one
It's
which
mandatory.
falls in the Dutch
Exactly.
system. Yes. So do you have how was your experience with health
the
insurance?
Dutch insurance, Lahan applied for on my behalf for this
Yeah.
year. And actually, you do need it. They asked for it at the embassy. Well, at least in my case, they asked for it. So I did need to prove that I had it before going there. And yeah, that was it. It's valid for this whole year. So thankfully, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But it's very useful to have, especially if you're far from home. You never know when you're going to need it. I've had some friends who've had some health issues, and it's been very handy to them to get their medicines, to get their sessions, so it's very important to have it.
Absolutely. Now we have another question, which is a really nice question to kind of summarize everything that we have discussed so far during this section. Can you give a summary of what is needed when students arrive in the Netherlands? Like, is it possible to do a list?
Maybe we can come up with a
Yeah.
list together.
Yes, let's come up with a list
I'm
together.
a list person,
Okay.
so before coming here, I had a list because I am one
Perfect.
of those people who don't like to not be prepared.
Okay.
So definitely, I print everything out too, just in case. So just definitely be sure that you have your passport, your visa, all important documents. I printed out my contract for my rent. I printed out my insurance for my rent. Then just be aware that when you come here, you're gonna need. I printed out copies of my passport too, because sometimes they ask for it when you're for customs and stuff. When you come here, just be sure that you need to apply for your the municipality, but the Han will send you an email for that, and they will tell you what you need to bring.
Yeah.
It's nothing serious. Your Dutch bank account, and just to pick up your residence permit.
Yeah.
It's really very straightforward, I would say.
I really wish I could be as organized as you. I don't print anything out whatsoever before going on such an adventure. But yeah, thank you. Magda, is there anything that you would like to add to
Well, I would
the
like to
Vickas
add,
list?
if you feel confident riding a bike, then I would definitely
yes.
recommend that during the first weeks of your stay in the Netherlands, you would look for a bike. And it could be a new one. There are good renting possibilities
Yes.
nowadays
Yeah.
that you rent it for a year or maybe for half a year only, or you look for a second-hand bike, which is quite common in the Netherlands that you ride a second-hand bike. So you can buy them almost anywhere, either from bike stores, or you look for little
Online.
post-its on supermarkets or online. Exactly. But only if you are familiar with riding a bike,
Yeah.
because
I mean, you can always learn.
You can
but
learn. Yeah,
I-
for sure.
Maybe
for
something
sure.
to know beforehand. If you know already 1 year in advance that you're coming here, start
Start
riding a
biking.
bike with an extra wheel next to it so that you don't get
It might
hurt.
still be different from riding a bike in your home
It
country.
is.
Because here you have to be in full traffic, and
Yeah.
although the traffic system is really adapted to a lot of bike riders, it can still be a little bit overwhelming if you're not used to it.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it's Arnhem or Nijmegen and it's
Yeah,
not
no, but it's
Amsterdam.
still difficult.
It's still difficult.
It's still
though.
difficult.
I agree.
You ride
Yeah.
like beside the road and stuff, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not fun sometimes when you're learning.
Do
But
you
get
ride your
used to
bike
it.
here, Rebecca?
Yes, I do. I have a rent bike. I don't like to have my own bike. I prefer renting because you get a student discount. So I prefer that. And obviously, in case they steal it, they can just replace it and stuff. So it's
They're good
way
services. Yeah.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
a good service.
I actually do the same myself.
So it's easier. And in any case, if you'd rather not ride a bike, you could just cancel your subscription. And it's so
And there you
easy.
go. Very simple.
Yeah.
And speaking of subscription, or I notice that a lot of students are very into doing sports or working out. So you might want to find out where's a good place for you to go, either to play soccer or volleyball or whatever it is your sport, or to just work out, because we have good facilities just around the campus where lots of students enjoy working out after class. So.
Yeah, and there is even a thing such as the sports card. So if you're a student at the Han, you can get a subscription there. And when I did my bachelor's in Arnhem, it was outstanding, really. Like, I got access to so many different gym facilities all over the city of Arnhem, even a pool, and you literally just need to pay this minusculous subscription fee of like 15 euros, and then you can just, or maybe a bit more, like maybe 20 max, and then you can just work out anywhere,
Yeah,
which is
it's very
stunning.
easy.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends who are in football clubs, rugby, volleyball, basketball leagues. Actually, a friend of mine invited me to a game today for basketball, so
how
that's
fun.
exciting. And yeah, I do ice skating personally, figure
nice.
skating, but there's not a rink here in Arnhem, so I go to Nijmegen.
Which is around the corner, really.
Exactly, so I just take a
how much
train,
does it take?
go and get back. And the train goes directly there, so it's way
Wonderful.
easier.
And for the students going to the Nijmegen campus, there's a big sports center where we have the same facilities. It's all in one place, and it's frequently used by lots of students. So
It's
also a good
massive,
place to get to know other students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, So we have another question that just came in. So why is the financial guarantee only for non-European students? Magda, maybe this is a question for you.
Ooh, I would say that it has to do with the visa, because and the cost of living. That's why we created a package that has all these segments in there, including the housing, which is something that we do offer to non-European students, because for them it's a little bit harder to go on the room market and find a room themselves. So that is why we cover that all in one package deal for the non-European students, indeed.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it's ever going to be there for the Europeans. Who knows, maybe in the future. But for now, it's just non-European.
Yeah, and I feel like that very much explains and answers the question that was asked. So yeah, thank you for doing so. As I am seeing that we have no more incoming questions, I deducted that is the end of our talk show for today in general. So thank you very much, you guys, for joining me during this section. We had a great time here talking about the different possibilities for students applying for a visa as well as for scholarships. And thank you again for sharing your insightful feedback to us.
Well, thanks for having us.
Of course, anytime. So just for the people at home, thank you very much to you as well for joining our sections today during this open day. We hope that they were informative enough for you to draw some conclusions and also make your final decision. Thanks again for joining, and we hope to see you soon. Goodbye.